It is 1 a.m. You have work tomorrow. You set an alarm for 6. You told yourself one more episode 2 episodes ago. And yet, here you are. The next episode is already playing. You did not press anything. You did not make a decision. The decision was made for you, quietly, automatically, by a system that understood exactly what you would do before you did it. That is not entertainment. That is one of the most sophisticated psychological systems ever built. Netflix has 270 million subscribers in 190 countries. It generates approximately $33 billion in revenue every year. At its peak, it was worth over $300 billion, and it controls more human attention, more waking hours, more leisure time, more of what people actually do with their evenings than any entertainment company in the history of the medium. And it started with a late fee. Not a vision, not a technology breakthrough, not a genius insight about the future of streaming. A late fee for a copy of Apollo 13 that Reed Hastings forgot to return to Blockbuster. This is that story. To understand what Netflix did, you need to understand what the world looked like before it. In 1997, Blockbuster Video was the undisputed king of home entertainment. 9,000 stores worldwide, 60,000 employees, $6 billion in annual revenue. On a Friday night in America, going to Blockbuster was not just renting a movie, it was an event. You drove to the store, you walked the aisles, you debated with whoever you were with. You picked something up, read the back, put it down, picked up something else. And then you paid your late fees. Blockbuster made approximately $800 million a year from late fees alone. Not from renting movies, from charging customers extra money for keeping movies too long. It was one of the most resented revenue streams in American retail. Customers hated it, complained about it constantly, and kept paying it because there was no alternative. Reed Hastings paid $40 in late fees for Apollo 13 in 1997. He was embarrassed, not just about the money, about the indignity of the system, the punitive, humiliating experience of being charged extra because you forgot a piece of plastic. He drove home thinking about it, and somewhere between the Blockbuster parking lot and his front door, he had an idea. What if you rented movies the way you paid for a gym membership? A flat monthly fee. No late fees, no due dates, no driving to a store. Just movies delivered to your door whenever you wanted them. He called his friend Mark Randolph. They started Netflix in 1997. The first version of Netflix was not streaming. There was no streaming in 1997. The internet was not fast enough. The infrastructure did not exist. The idea was simply rent DVDs by mail. You went to the Netflix website. You chose the movies you wanted. They mailed you the DVDs in a distinctive red envelope. You watched them. You mailed them back in the same envelope. Netflix sent you the next movies on your list. No late fees, no due dates, no driving to the store. It sounds simple. It was simple. But simple was exactly what made it work. In 1999, Netflix introduced the subscription model, a flat monthly fee for unlimited rentals. At the time, this was considered either brilliant or insane, depending on who you asked. The economics only worked if people rented enough movies to justify the subscription, but not so many that Netflix lost money on every envelope. The queue system changed everything. Instead of deciding what to watch when the DVD arrived, you built a list of everything you wanted to watch in order. Netflix would always send you the next thing on your list. You were always deciding in advance, in a low-pressure moment, rather than deciding right now with nothing in your hand and an empty Friday night in front of you. The queue was the first time Netflix understood something about human psychology that would define every decision the company made for the next 25 years. People make better decisions about what they want to watch when they are not hungry for entertainment right now. When you are already sitting on the couch with 2 hours to kill, you will choose something comfortable and familiar. When you are calm and organized and building a list, you will choose more ambitiously, more interestingly, more of what you actually want to watch rather than what is easiest to watch. The queue was not a technical feature. It was a psychological insight. In 2000, Netflix was losing money. The company was burning through cash, and the subscriber base was growing, but not fast enough. Reed Hastings flew to Dallas to meet with Blockbuster's CEO, John Antioco, with a proposal. He offered to sell Netflix to Blockbuster for $50 million. Blockbuster passed. The executives in the room reportedly laughed at the meeting. This is one of the most famous mistakes in business history. But it is worth understanding why Blockbuster said no, because their reasoning made complete sense at the time. Netflix had 300,000 subscribers and was losing money. Blockbuster had 60,000 employees and $6 billion in revenue. The DVD by mail business was a niche product for a small number of tech-forward customers who did not mind waiting 2 days for a movie. Blockbuster served the mass market, the people who wanted a movie tonight, not a movie on Thursday. The logic was sound. The conclusion was catastrophic. Because Blockbuster understood what it was, a store that rented movies, but not what it could become. Netflix understood what it was, a system for giving people exactly the movies they wanted with zero friction, and built toward that at every step. Convenience always wins. Not immediately, not dramatically, but eventually and completely. In 2007, Netflix launched streaming. Not as a replacement for the DVD service, as an add-on. A bonus feature. Watch some movies instantly online while you wait for your DVDs in the mail. The streaming library was small. The picture quality was mediocre. The selection was mostly older titles that the studios did not particularly value. Nobody at Netflix described it as the future of the company. But Reed Hastings knew. He understood that the DVD business, as successful as it had become, as completely as it had destroyed Blockbuster, was temporary. Physical media was temporary. Anything physical was temporary. The future was a world where every piece of content ever created was available to every person on Earth, instantly, on any device, for a flat monthly fee. He was 10 years early on that prediction, but he was right. Netflix spent the next 5 years quietly building the streaming infrastructure, while the DVD business continued to generate the cash that paid for it. By 2010, streaming was growing faster than DVD rental had ever grown. By 2011, the two businesses were serving fundamentally different customer needs, and Reed Hastings made a decision that nearly destroyed the company. He decided to split them. In September 2011, Netflix announced that it was separating its DVD by mail business and its streaming service into two separate companies. The DVD service would be renamed Quickster. Customers who wanted both would have to pay for two separate subscriptions and manage two separate queues on two separate websites. The reaction was immediate and catastrophic. Netflix lost 800,000 subscribers in 1 month. The stock dropped 77% from its peak, from $298 per share to $53. Wall Street analysts were writing about the end of Netflix. Customers were furious. The press was brutal. Reed Hastings went on camera and apologized to the entire world. Not a corporate non-apology, an actual apology. He said he had been arrogant. He said he had moved too fast. He said he had let his customers down. He canceled the Quickster plan entirely and focused everything on making the streaming service work. The apology was genuine. The lesson was real. And what came next was extraordinary. Netflix came back, not just to where it had been, to somewhere nobody had imagined. The recovery started with one strategic insight that changed everything about how Netflix thought about its business. The problem with streaming, the fundamental problem that distinguished it from the DVD queue model, was that the friction was gone. With DVDs, you had to wait 2 days for your next movie, so you chose carefully. With streaming, you could watch anything instantly, so choosing felt overwhelming, and people defaulted to the easiest, most familiar option. Netflix solved this with the algorithm. The Netflix recommendation algorithm is not a simple system. It is one of the most complex consumer-facing machine learning systems ever built. It tracks not just what you watch, but how you watch it. How long you watch before pausing. Whether you finish something. How quickly you return to a series. What time of day you watch. What device you watch on. How your viewing changes on weekends versus weekdays. Every interaction you have with Netflix, every scroll, every hover, every play, every pause, every abandon, feeds data back into a system that builds an increasingly precise model of your taste, your mood, your attention span, and your behavior. And then it uses that model to decide what to show you. The homepage you see is not the same as the homepage anyone else sees. Netflix serves approximately 250 million different homepages simultaneously, one for each subscriber, personalized down to the order in which genres are listed, the specific titles shown in each row, and the thumbnail image used to represent each piece of content. The thumbnail is not chosen randomly. Netflix A/B tests thumbnails constantly, showing different images for the same title to different subscribers and measuring which image generates more clicks. A thriller might show a tense action scene to one subscriber and a close-up of a character's face to another, depending on what that subscriber's viewing history suggests they respond to. You're not browsing Netflix. Netflix is presenting to you a version of itself that is specifically designed for your psychology. But the algorithm is only part of the system. The mechanism that captures the most attention, the feature that is responsible for more hours of Netflix viewing than any other single decision the company has ever made, is the one you barely notice: autoplay. When an episode ends, the next episode begins automatically after a 15-second countdown. You do not have to press play. You do not have to make a decision. The decision not to watch the next episode requires active intervention. You have to pick up your phone or remote and press stop or navigate away. The default is always more. This is not a minor design decision. This is the most consequential user experience choice in the history of streaming. Every additional episode watched represents additional subscriber satisfaction, additional habit formation, additional switching cost. Every episode that plays automatically is an episode that a subscriber might not have chosen consciously, but will not stop either. Netflix has never published data on how many additional hours of viewing autoplay generates, but the fact that they have never removed it, that despite significant public criticism and regulatory pressure in some countries, they have kept autoplay as the default, tells you everything you need to know about what the data shows. But the algorithm and the autoplay were tools for managing existing content. The breakthrough that made Netflix truly unassailable was original content. In 2013, Netflix released House of Cards, the first major original series produced by a streaming platform. It was not just a good show, it was a statement. Netflix was not a distribution channel for other people's content. It was a studio. The way Netflix greenlit House of Cards revealed something extraordinary about how the algorithm worked. Traditional television networks ordered pilots. They made a pilot episode, tested it with focus groups, and decided whether to order a full series based on the results. It was expensive, slow, and frequently wrong. Netflix did not make a pilot. They looked at their data. They saw that subscribers who watched the original British House of Cards also watched films directed by David Fincher and also watched films starring Kevin Spacey. 3 overlapping audience segments, all pointing to the same content profile. They ordered 2 full seasons before a single frame had been shot. Not because they had a feeling about it, because the data told them their subscribers would watch it. This was the moment Netflix stopped being a distribution platform and became something completely new, a company that used audience behavior data to commission content it already knew millions of people would watch before it existed. Every major streaming platform, Disney+, HBO Max, Amazon Prime, Apple TV+, now operates on the Netflix model. Original content, algorithm-driven recommendations, autoplay, default. Netflix invented the playbook that the entire industry is now running. Here is what Netflix actually understood that nobody else in entertainment had figured out. The enemy of television was not other television. The enemy of television was sleep. Every other entertainment company competed for viewers against other entertainment companies. Netflix competed for viewers against going to bed. And to win that competition, it needed to understand not just what people enjoyed watching, but what kept people watching past the point where they had planned to stop. The answer was the cliffhanger, but engineered at a scale and with a precision that traditional television had never achieved. Netflix original series are structured differently from traditional television. Traditional TV episodes have a beginning, middle, and end, a complete story unit that satisfies the viewer and allows them to stop. Netflix episodes are structured to end at a moment of maximum unresolved tension, not a cliffhanger in the cheap sense, but a genuine open question that the next episode will answer. The question is calibrated carefully, not so large that it feels overwhelming, not so small that it feels forgettable. Exactly large enough that the 15-second autoplay countdown feels like the path of least resistance. Combined with the algorithm that has already told you this is exactly the show you would like, combined with the thumbnail that was specifically chosen to appeal to your psychology, combined with the homepage that was built around your viewing history, the entire system, every element of it, is designed to reduce the friction between you and the next piece of content, not to entertain you, to keep you watching. Here's what the story of Netflix actually teaches. Netflix did not win because it made better content than HBO, or better recommendations than Blockbuster, or better technology than YouTube. It won because it understood something about human attention that nobody else in the entertainment industry had fully grasped. Attention is not given. It is captured. The old entertainment model assumed that if you made something good enough, people would choose to watch it. They would make an active decision to sit down and engage. The value was in the content. Netflix understood that the decision to watch is only the beginning. The more important question is what happens after the credits roll. Do you stop or do you keep going? And the answer to that question is not determined by the quality of the content you just watched. It is determined by what happens in the 15 seconds after the last frame. McDonald's understood that the real business was real estate, not food. Nike understood that the real product was identity, not shoes. Starbucks understood that the real product was belonging, not coffee. Apple understood that the real product was identity, not technology. Netflix understood that the real product was not the show you chose to watch. It was the show that played automatically after the one you chose. The cue, the algorithm, the thumbnail, the autoplay, the episode structure. 5 mechanisms working simultaneously to answer one question: what happens after the credits roll? And the answer Netflix built across 25 years, from red envelopes in the mail to 270 million subscribers watching on every screen on Earth, is the same answer every time: one more episode. In 1997, Reed Hastings paid $40 in late fees at Blockbuster for Apollo 13. He was embarrassed. He thought there had to be a better way. 25 years later, Blockbuster has one location left on Earth, a single store in Bend, Oregon that operates as a tourist attraction and a museum to the way things used to be. Netflix has 270 million subscribers. It generated $33 billion in revenue last year. It changed how stories are told, how content is commissioned, how attention is captured, and what human beings do with their evenings. Not because Reed Hastings was smarter than the people at Blockbuster, not because he had a clearer vision of the future of streaming, but because he understood that the most valuable thing in the modern world is not a product or a service or even a piece of content. It is the next 15 seconds after the credits roll. And he built a system, patient, precise, increasingly sophisticated, that made those 15 seconds always point in the same direction. One more episode. That is the business.